Before we dive in, take a moment to support Pharaoh's Code. If you're passionate about unlocking the ancient secrets of lost civilizations and want to journey deeper into humanity's forgotten past, make sure to subscribe, tap that like button, and drop us a comment letting us know your thoughts or questions. Your interaction keeps this quest for truth alive and helps us bring more revelations straight to you. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a colossal structure rising from the Egyptian sands, has captivated scholars, engineers, and mystics for centuries. It's not merely a pile of stone, it's a marvel of geometry, engineering, and mystery. It stands as a silent sentinel to a civilization that, by all mainstream accounts, should not have had the technological prowess to build such a masterpiece. And yet, here it is, still standing, still demanding answers. At first glance, the pyramid impresses by its sheer size. But as you get closer, what truly astonishes is the detail, the fingerprints of technology, precision, and design that defy traditional explanations.
One of the most striking indicators is the presence of large basalt stone blocks around the site, showing vertical machine-like markings. These aren't simple tool marks. They are linear, patterned, and consistent, features that strongly resemble the results of mechanical saws rather than hand tools or copper chisels.
Even more compelling are the curved saw cuts discovered on site, some approximating 18 to 24 inches in diameter. These aren't the random chiselings of a workforce of thousands. They're evidence of advanced cutting techniques, potentially large-scale circular saws used on one of the hardest stones available. Granite doesn't yield easily, especially not to primitive tools. Yet here we see granite shaped with a level of precision we'd associate with modern machining.
Move beyond the Great Pyramid and further mysteries await. See, near the second pyramid you'll find channels in the ground seemingly scorched with molten granite and charred limestone, materials that require thousands of degrees of heat to reach such a state. There's one particularly astonishing limestone block that contains a flowing channel of melted granite within it, still bearing the colorful mineral traces left behind by intense thermal energy.
How is this possible in a time when fire was the most advanced heat source available? Then there are the casing stones, the original smooth outer layers that once made the pyramids gleam in the sunlight. These stones were fitted together with such microscopic precision that even a razor blade can't slide between them. They weren't just set, they were fused.
So seamless is the joinery that it makes modern construction techniques look primitive by comparison. It's clear we're dealing with something beyond simple stone stacking.
You know, the Great Pyramid isn't isolated in its wonder. It actually forms a celestial triad with its two neighboring pyramids, and together they mirror the alignment of Orion's belt with, well, near-perfect accuracy. According to astronomical data, the last time the pyramids aligned precisely with Orion's belt was around 10,450 BCE. That would make them over 12,000 years old, long before the rise of the pharaonic dynasties recognized by Egyptologists. If this is true, we're looking at a legacy from a forgotten civilization, one that had advanced astronomical knowledge and the means to translate that into monumental architecture.
It's important to understand that the Giza Plateau is more than just three large pyramids. Scattered around are smaller pyramids, ancient walls, deeply set shafts, and interconnected tunnels, some only recently explored. One such shaft, known as the Osiris shaft, descends 115 feet beneath the surface. Inside lies a granite sarcophagus placed in the center of an artificial canal, eerily filled with still water. How does water consistently reach that depth? The only logical explanation is an intricate underground water system, likely connected to natural springs and designed with hydrological precision. The rock formation rules out accidental flooding or seepage. This was engineered, intentionally and intelligently. Then there's the question of transportation. How did ancient builders manage to haul a 40-ton sarcophagus down this vertical shaft with no sign of ramps, ladders, or lifting systems? Even more perplexing is the presence of a sarcophagus made from diorite, a material not found anywhere in Africa. Transporting such a massive object across continents and lowering it into an underground chamber implies logistics and infrastructure that, honestly, just defy conventional history.
And this isn't an isolated example. The Serapeum of Saqqara, located not far from Giza, contains a series of massive granite boxes, each carved with such perfection that it seems impossible they were shaped by hand tools.
These boxes, each weighing up to 70 tons, were cut from single blocks of granite and hollowed out with uniform wall thickness. The inner surfaces are as smooth and precise as the outer ones.
We're not talking about decorative tombs. We're talking about objects built to exacting standards that hint at a technological purpose, possibly even involving frequencies, energy manipulation, or scientific processes we still don't understand.
What's more, these boxes possess peculiar acoustic properties. Sound within these chambers lingers, reverberates, and enhances. It's as if the builders understood harmonic resonance and built with acoustics in mind. Granite is known to be highly resonant, and the exact dimensions of chambers like the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid seem to amplify sound in a way that's not accidental.
Vocal tones bounce and expand within the space, suggesting a deliberate attempt to create sonic effects, perhaps for ceremonial, therapeutic, or technological purposes.
In fact, modern acoustic testing in these chambers demonstrates the power of resonance within these ancient structures.
Could these chambers have served functions beyond ritual, maybe as frequency generators or energy stabilizers?
We can't know for sure.
But what's undeniable is that the sound behavior in these rooms is sophisticated and deeply intentional.
And then there's the most radical theory of all, that the Great Pyramid functioned as a massive water pump.
In 1962, a man named Edward Kunkel proposed a wild idea in his book Pharaoh's Pump. The inner chambers and passageways were part of a hydraulic system, not a tomb.
His concept was dismissed at first.
Critics scoffed at the complexity: valves, chambers, vacuum seals, even the need for combustion systems.
But others took a second look and realized that a simpler solution, a hydraulic ram pump, could fit the evidence.
A ram pump uses gravity and pressure to push water from a lower point to a higher one, with no electricity and honestly very few moving parts.
And the Nile River, along with Lake Moeris, sat higher than the Giza Plateau.
That makes them ideal sources for a gravity-fed system.
Was the pyramid pumping water?
Maybe even generating pressure to irrigate fields or fill massive reservoirs.
Evidence shows that a retaining wall once surrounded the pyramid, possibly functioning as an embankment.
Could the pyramid have been more than just a monument, a part of a vast water management system that sustained an entire civilization?
Here's the kicker. The economics just don't add up if the pyramid was merely a royal tomb.
Think about it. 2.3 million blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, placed with engineering precision.
Even at 12 blocks an hour, 24/7, it would have taken 20 years to complete, assuming perfect efficiency.
In modern terms, the cost would top $5 billion.
Would you spend that to bury one man?
Or would you invest in something that could sustain your entire kingdom, like a high-capacity water system designed to feed the land and your people?
The deeper we look, the more this ancient enigma starts to unravel the narrative we've been told.
Whether through precision cuts in stone, the acoustics of sealed chambers, or the alignment of celestial bodies, it's clear that the builders of the Great Pyramid knew something. Something profound, something lost.
Maybe it's time we start asking better questions. Not just about how these things were built, but why.
What if these structures aren't relics of a primitive past, but the last remaining blueprints of a civilization that reached incredible technological heights before being lost to history?
The deeper we explore Egypt's ancient architecture, the clearer it becomes that what we see on the surface is just the beginning.
Take, for instance, the strange and largely forgotten site of Zeit El-Aryan, known to many simply as Zeit El-Aryan. Often brushed aside by mainstream Egyptology as the remnants of an unfinished pyramid, this site contains mysteries that refuse to be ignored.
According to a growing number of independent researchers, this is not an incomplete monument at all, but rather an outflow point for a far more sophisticated system of energy and water engineering.
The massive pit at the heart of Zeit El-Aryan isn't simply a construction platform or a collapsed tomb. Some believe it was designed as a reservoir or catchment for water pumped up from the subterranean system beneath the Great Pyramid itself.
When archaeologists began excavating the area in 1905, they uncovered something incredibly curious: a giant pink granite slab weighing over 30 tons embedded in a kind of pavement.
Nearby, a perfectly oval-shaped granite vat, polished to a mirror finish, was discovered, carved directly into the pavement itself. The workmanship on the vat was extraordinary, symmetrical, smooth, and clearly deliberate. This wasn't just a decorative object.
The basin had been lined with a thick protective layer of lime and clay, suggesting it was used to store something valuable, possibly even dangerous. More intriguingly, the inner walls showed signs of a black residue, likely the remains of a liquid. Was it a chemical, a fuel, or part of an ancient, now-lost process we don't yet understand?
Regardless, the care taken to preserve this vessel implies a use far more important than ceremonial ritual. This was engineered for purpose.
The pit at Zeit El-Aryan was also known to rapidly fill and drain with water. During one excavation, a violent rainstorm poured into the pit. Over 10 feet of water collected, only to vanish within hours. That rapid drainage could only occur if the water was being siphoned into a subterranean system beneath the pit.
If you accept that premise, then it's not hard to believe this site could have been connected to the Great Pyramid's own subterranean infrastructure. Maybe it wasn't just a standalone monument. Maybe it was a node in a continent-spanning system of water and energy management.
Italian Egyptologist Alessandro Barsanti believed just that. He was the lead investigator at the site in the early 1900s. After discovering the massive granite slabs and the mysterious vat, he became convinced that Zeit El-Aryan was an entrance to a hidden underground complex, one containing rooms, chambers, possibly even artifacts or technologies hidden from history.
But before he could dig deeper, World War I erupted, bringing his work to a halt. Barsanti died in 1917, and with him, the secrets of Zeit El-Aryan were buried, literally and figuratively.
Since the 1960s, the Egyptian government has completely closed off the site, now protected as a military installation. No one is allowed access. Why? What are they hiding?
Fast forward to 1999. A marine engineer named Cadman stumbled across a dusty copy of Pharaoh's Pump, a book originally published in the 1960s, proposing that the Great Pyramid was never meant to be a tomb at all, but a massive, hydraulically powered machine.
Cadman's background in hydraulics gave him a unique perspective. When he examined the diagrams and dimensions of the subterranean chamber beneath the Great Pyramid, he was struck by how similar it looked to the layout of a ram pump, a system that uses gravity and water momentum to push water to higher elevations without the need for electricity or modern engines.
More than just resembling a pump, the chamber showed real-world evidence of intense water activity, ceiling erosion patterns, cavitation marks, and water damage that clearly wasn't cosmetic.
To test the theory, Cadman built scale models of the subterranean system. His first 3 attempts failed, but on his 4th, he succeeded. The model pumped water, effectively, reliably, just as a ram pump would. He was no longer dealing in theories. He had practical, repeatable, physical evidence that the pyramid had once functioned as a hydraulic machine.
But Cadman's revelations didn't stop there. When he scaled up his model and encased it in concrete to simulate being underground, a strange phenomenon occurred. The device began producing rhythmic compression waves, thumping pulses of energy that traveled through the ground and could be heard more than 100 feet away.
Cadman realized he hadn't just built a pump, he'd built a pulse generator. This was a game changer. Because granite, the primary material used in the upper parts of the Great Pyramid, is an excellent conductor of energy, these pulse waves wouldn't just pump water. They would resonate through the entire structure, creating electromagnetic effects, possibly even electricity.
Cadman concluded that the Great Pyramid could have been the centerpiece of an ancient energy network, generating power using water, granite, and earth resonance. Now, this idea wasn't new. Even Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant minds in modern history, was obsessed with Egypt and its pyramids. Tesla believed the Earth could be used as a natural conduit for electrical energy.
He even built a pyramid-like structure called the Wardenclyffe Tower, designed to transmit wireless electricity through the Earth's ionosphere.
It failed, not due to a flaw in the design, but because his funding was cut. Yet Tesla's theories lived on, and he often cited the pyramids of Egypt as the inspiration for his work.
The Great Pyramid was originally covered in white Tura limestone, an outstanding electrical insulator. Inside, it was lined with granite, an excellent conductor. The design is shockingly similar to a modern coaxial cable, a conductive core surrounded by an insulating shell.
Add to that a golden capstone, gold being one of the best conductors known to man, and you have the perfect structure for transmitting electrical energy.
In 1993, a mysterious sealed chamber was discovered deep within the pyramid behind a hidden wall. When it was finally explored in 2011, cameras revealed something astonishing. Copper wiring and a diagram painted on the floor resembling an electrical circuit.
This wasn't just a room, it was a machine component. Christopher Dunne, a veteran aerospace engineer, spent decades studying the pyramid's layout and materials. In his 1998 book, The Giza Power Plant, Dunne proposed that the Great Pyramid was a power plant designed to harness energy from the Earth itself, specifically seismic and vibrational energy, converted into usable electrical power.
According to Dunne, the Queen's chamber produced hydrogen gas through a chemical reaction, while the King's chamber harnessed that gas to generate power. The entire structure, he said, was a harmonic resonator, tuned to Earth's natural frequencies.
Modern science is catching up. In 2018, a peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Applied Physics found that the Great Pyramid can, in fact, concentrate electromagnetic energy, particularly in its chambers and at the base.
A year later, researchers published Giza's Industrial Complex, expanding on Dunne's work. They argued that the pyramid and the entire Giza Plateau was a complex energy system, generating power through water splitting and hydrogen fuel.
What this all points to is a growing convergence between ancient wisdom and modern science. We're finally seeing what the ancients may have known, that energy isn't just something to be created, it can be harnessed from the Earth itself.
That the Great Pyramid wasn't a mausoleum but a masterpiece of energy engineering.
And maybe, just maybe, this entire knowledge base wasn't originally Egyptian. Perhaps the dynastic Egyptians were heirs to a far older, more advanced civilization. One that built these structures with a knowledge of energy, vibration, water pressure, and acoustics that we are only now beginning to comprehend.
We're not talking about ancient superstition. We're talking about applied science, hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. The pyramids aren't just relics, they are keys. Keys to a forgotten science. Keys to a world where energy came not from burning fuel, but from understanding nature's own rhythms. And if we can understand how they did it, if we can unlock that code, then who knows what kind of future we could create using the wisdom of the ancient past. If you've stayed with us this far, we want to thank you for joining this epic exploration. This is the kind of deep dive research and inquiry we live for on Pharaoh's Code. If you found this journey compelling, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video to show your support, and leave a comment sharing your theories or what surprised you most. Every click helps fuel this mission to uncover the truth behind the world's greatest mysteries. Until next time, stay curious, stay awake, and keep decoding the ancient world with Pharaoh's Code.